What's going on, everyone? So Christian Wood has officially chosen the Los Angeles Lakers, and this is great, right? Lakers are in a great position. Lakers have, you can make an argument, too much depth at this point. Darvin Ham is definitely going to have his hands full trying to figure out and get everybody minutes, get everyone playing time, figure out, different lineups, different change-ups, right? Like, I imagine there's some level of experimentation, especially early on. You kind of get away with that. What does this lineup look like? What does that lineup look like? What does these five guys look like? And just kind of go through the trial and error early on. Because this roster, again, it is stacked front to back. There is an argument for, 13 guys, 12 guys, 12 of the 14 guys on the roster currently to start, right? Like, you can make an argument for, pretty much all of them. Right? And that's what makes this roster so beautiful. And the beauty of all the depth and the beauty of all the versatility and the size and just everything that comes with this is you're going to be able to keep everyone's minutes low, right? There's no reason LeBron and AD should be playing more than 30, 32 minutes a game. And, I've had some people kind of push back on LeBron and the idea of him playing 30 to 32 minutes. But if you look at since he's came to the Lakers, he's played the fewest minutes of his career. And outside of that year that we first got Russ and, we had Carmelo and Dwight and all those guys, and that season was just disaster. That was the only year that he played 36, 38 minutes, something like that off the top of my head. Outside of that, he's only been playing 33 minutes a game, 34 minutes a game. To think that he won't sit an extra 3 to 4 minutes just because we have all this depth and he can maintain his body and coast throughout the season and be fresh and be ready for a playoffs and go and push for an NBA championship, because that's what this roster is. This is a roster that is built for an NBA championship. LeBron knows that, right? So at the end of the day, I think that this roster had more than enough talent to win an NBA championship. Christian Wood just basically gives us that cherry on top of the sundae. Right, it's all right, you already got your sundae, what else do you want? All right, fine, here's a cherry. Right, that's what this is. And his versatility, his ability to play the 4 or the 5 is going to be massive. Gives us some Anthony Davis insurance, because Anthony Davis is going to miss 20-plus games this year. Obviously, he's not the defensive player that Anthony Davis is, but he's a guy that can go get you 20 on any given night. He's a 17-8 guy. If he's, Anthony Davis is out and he's more of a fixture, it's not far-fetched to think he could go get you 20 to 23 or whatever. So that is very valuable. And Rob Pelinka deserves all of his flowers, all of the attention, all of the love. The dude, he didn't just smack it out of the park. He smacked it in deep into the ocean. This dude killed it. From the draft to the upgrades to keeping all the core intact. This guy absolutely won free agency. If he doesn't win Executive of the Year, if he's not GM of the Year, something is wrong. Who had a better offseason than the Lakers? For the most part, there was no real massive changes, right? You had Boston go and get Porzingis, but they gave up Marcus Smart, so it wasn't like they added Porzingis for free or anything like that, right? The Warriors got Chris Paul. I don't think that's a factor. The Suns got Bradley Beal, but Kevin Durant was acquired last season, so that shouldn't count. So this year, it was basically just Bradley Beal and a bunch of guys that may or may not help them. And Bradley Beal, we'll even see if he works. The jury's still out on that. Rob Pelinka deserves the GM of the Year, and I want to reiterate that constantly. But beyond that, what's next? Right? What's the next step for the Lakers? Made a video kind of diving into what do the Lakers need? What should they look at? But what is the most likely route that Rob Pelinka and the Lakers are going to take? And again, I don't know this for certain, but I think that this is a very educated guess. I think the Lakers don't really do anything. I think that they will extend a handful of players a camp invite that they're high on, that they're interested in, and those guys will come to camp. I don't really think any of those guys will make the roster. And I think the Lakers just stand pat. Now, obviously, if somebody going into the regular season or going into camp or whatever, if somebody gets bought out that is a no-brainer, right? then the Lakers probably pick that person up. But more likely than not, anybody that you would not expect to get bought out probably isn't going to get bought out between now and training camp and the season. So my guess is the Lakers just leave that 15th roster spot open. If the Lakers need, some more shooting on a given night because a guy's out or whatever, you got Demoy Hodge, right? If you need an extra center, right? Jackson Hayes and Anthony Davis is out for a night. You got Colin Castleton. You got more than enough wing depth. You got plenty of guard play. You got everything you need on this roster, right? So I don't imagine the Lakers go and rush to go get the 15th spot, right? Rob is very patient. He operates in silence, right? Like even the Christian Wood signing, like the idea of the Lakers signing Christian Wood was not hush-hush, right? Like that was a given. But we didn't hear anything for like weeks. And then, boom, all of a sudden you get the notification that the Lakers just signed Christian Wood, right? It came out of left field. All the talk was that Christian Wood was waiting for Damian Lillard in that trade and what was going to happen there and yada, yada. And ultimately, Christian Wood, I guess, either just didn't want to really go to Miami and that wasn't true, or he just got tired of waiting. And he went and he signed with the Lakers. So, Rob is going to, for the most part, operate in secrecy. Like look at Rui, like those type of moves, those type of things usually come out of left field. Even the trade for like D'Angelo Russell and stuff. Like I talked about that, but it wasn't like a report. It was just like, hey, D'Lo, I could see him being available. The Lakers should go get him, right? Like there are things that Rob has done, and he's done it well, of keeping things kind of in-house, right? And the Lakers organization has done a good job of keeping things not from getting leaked. But unless the Dame trade causes some like ripple effect, and I don't mean like in the sense of like it shakes up I'm talking about like 4 or 5 pieces go to Portland, and let's say it's like a 4 or 5 team deal, something crazy like that, and there's all these interchangeable parts and all these interchangeable pieces, and somewhere along the way some veteran guy or whatever becomes available, and they end up waiving that guy and he makes sense for the Lakers, then maybe they'll do the buyout. But unless like the James Harden or Damian Lillard trade has some crazy shakeup and it ends up leading to several guys getting bought out, I don't see anything major happening in that regard. My guess is the Lakers are very patient. They keep that 15th roster spot open. I think that also they'll be active and kind of keep an eye out as we approach the trade deadline, right? Because the beauty of this roster is you have so much depth, but in the same breath, it gives the Lakers the luxury to make a move or two, even do like a 2 or 3 for 1 swap, and you'd still have more than enough depth for the playoffs and to make a push to win an NBA championship, right? Like, just using this as an example, right? I'm not saying the Lakers should do anything like this, but let's say you did trade D'Lo, Rui, Christie, and Lewis and Shafino, right? Like you're still totally okay, right? And like let's say it's for Dame, right? Just using a name again. Don't take this too literal, right? So like let's say you trade those 5 guys and go get Damian Lillard. You still have Dame, Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Jared Vanderbilt, Gabe Vincent, Taurean Prince, Jackson Hayes, Austin Reeves. You still have Christian Wood, right? Like you're stacked. You still have like 10 guys that you're totally okay and comfortable with, that you can run with, right? So like even then, like because you're only gonna run 8 to 10 guys in the playoffs anyway, and you would still have plenty of size. Like the Christian Wood thing really adds flexibility for the Lakers come the trade deadline. So don't be surprised if the Lakers are pretty active in trade talks coming during the trade deadline. Obviously, D'Lo, when he waived his no trade clause, that really sparked like, oh, D'Lo could be traded. So don't be shocked if there's a lot of reports and rumors of potential trades with the Lakers this season, especially with the Lakers kind of in win now mode, in all in, right? They have the roster, push your chips in. If there's a piece that makes sense that you think could come and bring us over the top, you go make that happen. The Lakers would have all of the offseason, all of training camp, and all of the half of the season going into that time to evaluate and see what do the Lakers really need, what are the Lakers really looking for, right? The other option is the buyout come post-trade deadline, right? Start getting those veterans that want out. You start getting like I even talked about maybe like Valanciunas. Like what if Valanciunas, they can't find a trade for Valanciunas and he wants a buyout, right? He's a free agent after this year. There's already talks about Portland and Valanciunas wanting to go their separate ways, that Portland wants to look to trade him at some point this year. And if they can't, very likely they could let him go, right? And I've seen people say like, teams don't usually buy out their starting centers. Yeah, but how many times, one, are starting centers available, two, are 31, 32 years old and aren't some like elite 2010 guy? And another example is Andre Drummond, right? Like that was just, 2 years ago, right? That Andre Drummond became available. He got bought out and he was a legit 2010 center guy at the time. And nobody thought that he was going to get bought out, and he ends up getting bought out and goes like, it all comes down to like, what does the Pelicans look like playing wise? Are they terrible? They're already having injury issues. Is Valanciunas why not at some point want to go play for a contender, right? Again, just using that as an example, but I think it's a solid example. Somebody like that, an impact guy that makes sense that you could use, that could come in and really kind of round out this roster in an area that may need being round out. We'll see if that's something that is a necessity. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's no issue at all because you still have Anthony Davis, Jackson Hayes, and Christian Wood. But Christian Wood is more of a 4 than a 5. So, but my guess is don't expect anything with that 15th roster spot. I think it's pretty safe to say nothing is very likely going to happen with that. Now, again, if something, some crazy player that no one sees coming ends up getting bought out, then possibly. But the Lakers can't even really do even trades right now, right? Like D'Lo isn't even available till like late December, early January, something like that. So there's still a lot of time before anything gets shaken up. And we see every year the Lakers like to keep that 15th spot open. So my guess, nothing happens. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I pass the question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? Should the Lakers do something with that 15th roster spot? Should they leave it open? If somebody becomes available on the buyout or whatever, you take it. However you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments.